Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2015 Duck Commander 500 at Texas race review here, where I'm going to recap what went on in the race, some of the major highlights, and and, and we're going to briefly touch on, or I'm going to briefly touch on next week's race at Bristol here. So just like every week, I'm going to get into what I wrote down in my pre-race notes in here. So I think the biggest headline, and this happened uh, last week during the off week, was that Ryan Newman was penalized 75 draft points, got a P5 penalty, and crew chief Luke Lambert and the two men who were tampering with the tires, basically, and by tampering, another word to describe it is poking holes in the tires here, and those two drivers are suspended. But however, RCR is going to try to appeal this on April 16th, and because they're going to try to appeal it, Luke Lambert stayed on top of the box for the race. And this penalty is one of the biggest penalties in NASCAR history right here. And when Ryan Newman got penalized 75 points, he won from 6 to 26 in points. And when I heard this news, I kind of felt like that while Newman definitely deserved a penalty, I felt like that this penalty maybe was not exactly handled in the best way. And here's why. I feel like under this current format, all you have to do is be inside the top 30 points and have at least one win by the time race 26 is over. And if you do that, you'll be in the chase. Unless there's more than 16 winners, then you have to race your way inside that top 16. But that's never ever happened before in NASCAR, where there was more than 16 winners by the time we got to race 26. And I feel like, and I feel like after what we saw tonight at Texas, we are definitely not going to have 60 winners or more here. But anyway, back to what I was talking about here. So basically, that's the way you can lock your place into the chase right here. But I feel, but I feel like docking points doesn't exactly help, because the thing is, Ryan Newman could just easily just like win a race and be in the chase, and I feel like that it would make that entire penalty completely pointless right here. And a good example of this was last year, because last year in July, Danny Hamlin was docked, I want to say 60 driver points. I don't exactly remember why Danny Hamlin got penalized, but he did. He got docked 60 points. But the thing is, because he won at Talladega in May, it made that penalty completely pointless. And Danny Hamlin is a good enough racer to be able to stay inside the top 3 points. And look how far Danny Hamlin got. He almost won the championship right here. And I felt like that. And when I first heard that, and by the time we got together the season, it made me think that that penalty was completely pointless, because it absolutely did not affect Danny Hamlin at all. You know, maybe maybe the only thing I see coming out of that is just simply now the team has to work a lot more harder to keep themselves outside the top 30, because they're now closer to 30th compared to being close to 10 points. I mean, I guess it's like one thing that comes out of that kind of penalty, but I kind of feel like that for me, if I was NASCAR, I think what I would have done is just simply take away one of Ryan Newman's wins. And what I mean by that is, like, if Ryan Newman were to win, that win would not lock himself in. He would actually have to win again, or he would just have to make it out points. But to me, I feel like Ryan Newman, to me, is a good enough driver that he'll be able to stay inside the top 30. And I do feel like that, based on what we've seen this year, there have been a couple of moments of where he's had top 5 and top 10 cars. I think Ryan Newman will be able to get a win, or if not, he'll get extremely close to that top 16. So I just feel like, to me, this penalty, I feel like, does not really affect them at all. And as far as tire tampering, I kind of feel like I forget exactly. I think it's like it reduces air pressure, which I think it increases grip, I believe, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly the NASCAR expert when it comes to tires and air pressure and grip and other stuff along those lines. But I guess that's why some teams were pushing the limits on that, just simply because if they can, when they have more grip, they'll go faster. And I track like auto club grip is very important right here. But NASCAR has said since day one, don't mess with the tires right here. And I guess the last thing I'll touch on before I move on is like other teams were accused of this as well, but we're not caught. We're not treated with penalties, and I feel like the reason was just simply because NASCAR just simply. I just kind of feel like I don't think NASCAR was being like unfair and being like we're gonna penalize Ryan because we hate you. I just feel like obviously NASCAR saw holes in Ryan Newman's tires, and NASCAR accused other teams, but there were not holes in those tires. I feel like NASCAR doesn't have anything against Ryan Newman. But anyway, now I'm going to move on right here. So entering this weekend right here, the last 9 spring races have been won by 9 different drivers right here. And when I saw that, that basically told me that we could easily have a handful of potential winners right here. And I'm just going to name off some of these drivers based on this weekend's performance, but also in the past year. I felt like that we had drivers like Johnson, Harvick Jr., Logano, Keselowski, Gordon, Kane, Truex Jr., Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Biffle, Kenseth, yeah, and that's from all the drivers that I saw that had the potential to win this race right here. And with that many contenders, I definitely felt like they'll be more in for a race. But the thing is, one thing I Texas Motor has been sort of criticized over the fact is having its races, especially the spring race, be a blockbuster here. But I felt like after what we saw tonight, all that talk about board festing, if it's even a word, just got thrown out the window. This race was not at all a board fest, and I feel like a lot of that just simply has to do with the chase format, but also you have teams that have nothing to lose, so they're just going to go out on for it instead of just like holding back and conserving things. And I also just feel like that I have to pay my thanks and appreciation to the Gen 6 car, because I feel like the Gen 6 car has really made the action exciting here, and I think that switching from the Gen 5 car into the Gen 6 car was one of the best decisions NASCAR has ever made. Right here, but anyway, now let's move on into practice right here. Martin Truex Jr. top open practice. Then Casey Kane one final practice here. To me, these two drivers were very surprising to me, because the thing is, even though Martin Truex Jr. has had top 10 finishes in every race so far, I felt like that other than in 2013, I don't really remember him making much of a mark at Texas. So to me, that was surprising. And Casey Kane. Earlier today, I found out that Casey Kane won a 2006 Texas race. But the thing is, like Martin Truex Jr., I felt like he hasn't really made much of a name for himself at this track. So yeah. And then Kurt Busch won the pole. And then other talk entering this weekend was the fact that Texas Motor Speedway is a rough surface, but it has high speeds. Now, in terms of the high speeds, if you remember last year in the fall, Tony Stewart, I think it was Matt Kenseth or Tony Stewart who set a new track record. I think it might be Matt Kenseth, but I'm not exactly sure here. But the thing is, both these drivers were able to clock over 200 miles per hour just slightly here. But if you remember, this was under the old rules package that had 900 horsepower, not 720 right here. And I felt like while track records were broken at, I believe it was either Atlanta or Las Vegas, the reduction in horsepower really really, uh, really, really showed its case here at Texas, because the thing is, we saw speeds at 195 and 94, not anywhere near 200, about 5 miles off right here. So, I'm sorry here. What I'm actually doing here is that I'm actually trying to find I'm actually trying to find. Okay. You know what? I'm actually not gonna find it here. You could look at it yourself. But the thing is, that was 200 miles per hour. I apologize for that here. So yeah. So like I was saying, the new rules package definitely showed its speed reduction side effects this week at Texas. And I feel like that's all I really have to say right here. Now let's move on to what happened in the race right here. So the front row was Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick here, and right away, immediately Kevin Harvick was able to grab the lead away from Kurt Busch here. I believe it was on the high side. I want to say is where he started, but I'm not exactly sure. And then and then in the first 5 to 7 laps, we actually had some close calls here with Denny Hamlin and Clint Bowyer having some near instances right here. Clint Bowyer almost got spun on the backstretch, and Denny Hamlin was dropping spots entering turn number 1 right here. But I feel like I feel like overall in Texas, there's not always a lot of passing going on, and we definitely saw it early in the race. There wasn't a lot of positions being gained right here. But then on lap 32 right here, caution number 1, when Alex Kennedy spun in the middle of turn 3 and 4, and my pit stops are here. Kurt Busch was able to win the race off the road here, and then as I turn the page, we have and then we have our first set of penalties are here from Dale Earnhardt Jr., Justin Allgaier, and Ryan Blaney right here. And actually, I just want to touch on Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney made his first start that was not Daytona. It was also his first start with the new rules package. And the thing is, I heard, I remember hearing some fans actually thinking about how Ryan Blaney could be a dark horse. I mean, I think he started 13th for here, but I kind of feel like overall Ryan Blaney, he was not going to have the car today, because honestly, to me, in my opinion, I felt like Ryan Blaney's process to me was very rushed. I felt like Ryan Blaney to me should have stayed in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. I almost said Nationwide. I think he should have stayed in those 2 series for like at least like a couple more years. I felt like he wasn't ready for Cup, and I felt like a race weekend like this really showed. But anyway, here, restart lap 37 here. Kurt Busch keeps the lead here, and then this is where we started to see Jimmie Johnson really showed that he does have a fast car that could win the race right here. And before this weekend, he never really ever made a name for himself in the spring race. He's won the past 3 fall races, but the thing is, he never really made much of an impact in the spring race right here, and sometimes in the spring he's actually had some like bad like for example in 2007 and most recently 2014 when Dale Earnhardt Jr. accidentally drove off into the grass and Johnson broke his windshield because he was right behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. So as I mentioned, this is where lap 37 restart is where we started to see Johnson really showed that he does have a fast car here, and also we also saw Keselowski here running strong. He was up in third here, and but Brad Keselowski several laps later would actually report a vibration. He would come back down to the road at lap 66 or here, and then 14 laps later, green flag pit stops began here on lap 79 here, and Brad was able to grab the lead only because he had pitted about 13 laps earlier here, and so in this case, Brad Keselowski was desperate for a caution right here, and before the next caution came out, we saw Clint Bowyer come down the road for a loose wheel here, and that would just simply begin his long day of struggles are here, and then Jimmie Johnson and Kurt Busch actually battled for second here, which would eventually become the battle for the lead. But Johnson was able to actually grab the leader here with Brad. I think he was. Yes, he was. Lap 109 here. Caution number 18 just grabbed the lead right here. So yeah, Johnson got the lead. Back, but this was a lucky break for Brad Keselowski right here, as he was able to stay on the same cycle as the rest of the field right here. And then we had pit stops right here on lap 110, and then also, I don't know if mentioned on TV, it probably did, but for the fourth straight race, Denny Hamlin got penalized. This time it was for entering too many stalls here, which was actually the #1 pit problem of the entire race. You know, because we think about in the past few weeks, it's been tire violations or tires leaving the box. But strangely enough, in this race, it was too many. It was entering too many pit stalls in here, and I'm kind of curious to see why that was the problem. I mean, I don't think there's really much of a. I don't think the Texas pit road is like. I don't think Texas Motor Speedway is like notorious for having like a tight pit road or anything like that. So it was kind of very strange to hear that. But anyway, lap 114 right here, restart. And I think Johnson was still right here. I guess he was, but up until lap 125 right here, where Kevin Harvick was able to regain the leader here. And then Harvick's lead got smaller about 20 laps later at around lap 147 right here. And the 48, we're starting to get side by side right here. And the thing is, this is also the point in the race of where we're starting to see our front runners, Harvick and Johnson, experiment by using different lanes. Yeah, sorry. And then Johnson was able to grab the leader here on lap 156, and by that point, green flag pit stops began. And Johnson pitted a lap earlier than Harvick, which allowed him to maintain his leader here and extend it. Lap 167 here, Landon Castle almost hits the wall with flat tire and barely misses the oncoming traffic. That was kind of one of the closest calls of the race. Here, caution number 3, lap 172 for debris. Pit stops are here, lap 173. And at this point, we were not seeing, in the first half of the race, there wasn't really a whole lot of strategy going on right here. Then we had a restart on lap 177 right here. And then we saw drivers that were not really talked about very much in the race, such as, for example, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Paul Menard, Carl Edwards, and David Ragan, all inside the top 10 at this point right here. And it was also around lap 193 of where Kurt Busch was starting to slide back right here, because the thing is, when Johnson got around him, there was talks about how the adjustments that Kurt Busch made, I think, on the cycle of green flag pit stops were not actually made his car worse right here, and that would explain why he was falling back right here. And then similar to Keselowski, Kane reports a vibration, and then the number 5 car pit, and then he pits on lap 198. And then by this point here, Johnson actually had over a 2-second lead here, and Junior was actually able to take second away from Harvick right here. Paul Menard got 4th place by lap 211 right here. And then we had another round of pit stops here under green flag, and then just like Keselowski, because Kasey Kahne pitted several laps before the rest of the field, he was able to grab the leader here, but he would quickly lose it. He would quickly lose it right here, because the thing is, when Kasey Kahne just left pit road, they showed how Kasey Kahne's car was actually about 6 miles per hour faster than everyone else who had older tires here, which shows how big taking 4 tires really does benefit you in many cases at Texas right here. But Johnson was able to retake the lead right here, and right around this point was when tragedy struck right here for Paul Menard right here, because on lap 223, Paul Menard comes down the road because of an issue. I don't exactly remember what the issue was. I think it had something to do with the engine right here. Then Paul Menard would go to the garage on lap 228 right here, and then he would finish, I would say, 40th right here. And that was definitely, and when I saw that, I was definitely very sad for Paul Menard, because I felt like that just before that he was guaranteed to, I would say, finish inside the top 10 right here, and he was definitely a dark horse. And he was definitely a dark horse, or there are a lot of people who considered him to be a dark horse right here. But to me, in my opinion, I think Palmieri is a pretty good driver. He just has a lot of crappy luck, and that's just kind of upsetting to watch right here. But I think Palmieri will have some good finishes down the road and maybe even win. And then as soon as Palmieri went to the garage, caution number 4 here on lap 228, Mac hits his spins and turns the M4, similar to Alex Kennedy. Pit stops are here, lap 229, and right here is where we saw our first strategy of the day. Jamie McMurray takes 2 tires right here and goes from 18th to 3rd right here. So all of a sudden, Jamie McMurray is now talked about as the driver who now has a strong car right here, and that check position really paid off right here because McMurray was able to stay inside the top 10 several laps after the restart right here. Restart here on lap 235 right here, but then 15 laps later on lap 250, Michael Nett hits the wall, bringing out the 5th caution right here. And Jimmie Johnson was still the leader at this point right here, and then we have pit stops right here. And right here we also saw some. I think we saw one of our biggest moves on pit road with 4 tires, and that was when Martin Truex Jr. and Kurt Busch, who took 4 tires, were actually able to gain 2 spots, and this is which put both of those drivers close to the top 5 right here. And by this point, there were 6 pit road penalties were reported. Lap 256 right here, restart, and then also this is the point in the race of where we start talking about Logano right here as someone who could possibly knock off Harvick and Johnson, right here. But then on lap 260 here, Michael and its teammate Justin Allgaier hits the wall here. So both cars hit the wall in 10 laps right here. And that brought out the 6th caution right here of the day. And what also made headlines during this caution was that oil was leaking from the car right here, which actually kept it closed for quite a while right here. And then right here, and also kind of one of the sort of like non-racing related highlights was that the fact of how a rabbit was actually on the back straight here, and was on the back straight because the thing is there was obviously a hole in the wall on the back straightaway, the inside wall here, and the rabbit was able to crawl through. The rabbit didn't get in the way or anything, but it's just kind of worth mentioning that just like Atlanta in the fall, wildlife comes onto the racetrack once again. And then we have pit stops right here on lap 267 right here, and this is where strategy really started to increase right here, as we had drivers like Logano, Kane, Keselowski, and Martin Truex Jr. here stay out here, while drivers like Harvick and Johnson pit right here. But then there were other drivers who I believe took 4 tires right here, and when they have the restart, this would be a good test to see how well Harvick and Johnson would do in traffic, because the thing is, both of those drivers have really not been in traffic all day long, and now they had to be able to weed through all that traffic here. I think both drivers started. I think Harvick, unless I'm thinking about. I was thinking about a later restart here. I think Harvick and Johnson restarted around 10th place here, and then we have restart here on lap 270 here. Logano led. Oh yeah, I forgot. Keselowski was penalized for hitting the cone right here, which forced him to go to the back of the field right here. So bad luck for Keselowski continued right here at Texas. Restart here on lap 270 here. Logano leads, and then right here. While it was easy for Harvick to get his way back into the front, it was not easy at all for Jimmie Johnson here. He was struggling in traffic right here. And I kind of feel like that's kind of a consequence of uh, spending your entire of spending the majority of your time up in the front and not knowing how your car will handle in traffic here. Johnson's car was just simply struggling in traffic right here. Um, and he actually had a close moment here with Dan Hamlin because I think he was trying to get around Hamlin, but I think at the same time he was also trying to get rid of the debris on his grill right here. But right here, and for the drivers that stayed out, drivers like Logano, Key, and Truex, it really paid off right here until Kevin Harvick became the leader on lap 285 right here. And by the time, but the thing is, even though Johnson was in traffic, there were reports saying that Johnson actually had the fastest car, but because he was several seconds behind, he wasn't going to be able to catch Harvick right here. But then all of a sudden here the field gets bunched back over here because on lap number 295 right here, caution number 7 here for debris here. And also at the same time, it got brushed to the wall as well. And then we have pit stops once again here. And everyone pitted and took 4 tires here. And then we had a restart here. And now I got to turn the page. So Harvick was the leader. Yeah. He was the leader here, and Johnson was still stuck in traffic here. So Johnson was continuing to struggle, and he did make an adjustment, so his car was a little bit better, but he was still stuck in traffic right here. But then the field will once again be what's the word I'm looking for? But then once again the field would have to be able to be bunched up again because on lap 309 here, caution number 8, the final caution of the day right here, came out for debris, and this debris specifically came from not just now. It came from AJ on turn 4, and debris came off the car here, and then on the lap 310 pit stops are here. Jamie McMurray, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Larson, and Martin Truex Jr. all took 2 tires, and I want to say, I think there are more drivers, but I just simply can't remember here. But Larson, who would have restarted third, couldn't be able to because the thing is he was penalized for driving through too many pit stalls. If I said stay out, I'm sorry. So yeah. So once again, another massive pit strategy are here, and now once again, drivers like Harvick and Johnson are once again in the middle of the field here. But both of those drivers had the 4 fresh tires, so I think many people will agree with me, but by the fact that they weren't going to be stuck in the back of the pack forever, you know. Restart lap 314 right here, and the following lap, Logano here, he was trying to block Harvick, but he got bumped out of the way, and Logano actually almost hit the wall over here. And McMurray here was able to keep his lead, hold off Jeff Gordon here, and by this point, McMurray McMurray said that his car has been faster than ever before here, but the thing is, Harvick and Johnson, with their 4 fresh tires and their adjustments, was able to catch McMurray quickly here. And then by lap 320 here, it was a 4-car battle here for the win. Jimmie McMurray, Kevin Harvick, Jimmie Johnson, Dale Earnhardt, 1, 2, 3, and 4 were here. And then right here, McMurray was at this point was just simply a sitting duck right here on those older tires. Well, I wouldn't say older tires, but on those 2 tires right here, because On lap 321 here, when Harvick tried to go the outside here, there was a hole on the bottom that McMurray left open because he tried to block Harvick here, and Johnson was able to go by both drivers here. Jimmie Johnson would be able to grab the leader here on lap 321. And then Dale Jr. actually almost got, he was trying to take second away from Harvick right here, and then a couple laps later, while trying to catch Johnson, Harvick actually almost spun coming off of turn 4 here, right here. And by this point in the race, with just a couple laps to go, it was kind of like this. One lap Johnson would be faster, but on the other lap, Harvick would be faster here. And they are both strong in different parts of the racetrack here. Like, I think Harvick was stronger in turns 1 and 2 and on the backstretch, but Johnson got a better run in turns 3 and 4 here. I think that was their strong points here late in the race here. And oh yeah, and when Harvick almost spun down, Jr. actually grabbed second away here. And Dale Jr., who wasn't really talked about throughout the majority of the race, was all of a sudden inside the top 2. I don't think Jr. was going to beat Jimmie Johnson right here. I guess I could have seen Dale Jr. pass Jimmie Johnson, but I just don't think that it was going to happen just simply because I don't think his car was as fast as Harvick or Johnson right here. But then lap 330 right here with just four more laps to go. Kevin Harvick takes second back right here. But then here, Harvick right here, who was about 4/10 back of Johnson here, he smacks the wall here on lap 332 right here with just 2 more laps to go. That would eventually cause him to fall back over 1 second behind Jimmie Johnson right here, and thus making it so. But by the time the checkered flag was laid, Jimmie Johnson right here wins the race. He gets second win of 2015, 5th win in Texas, 1st in the spring. He becomes the 10th different winner in 10 spring races right here. And Kevin Harvick, Logano, and Ron Trick Jr. maintain their streak of top 10 finishes right here at number 7 right here. So that right there is the entire race right here. And I guess now that the race is over, I'm now going to go over who finished where. And here we go. Jimmie Johnson finished his 1st, Kevin Harvick finished 2nd, Jr. 3rd, Logano 4th, Keselowski 5th, McMurray 6th, 7th was Gordon, 8th was Kane, 9th was Truex, 10th was Edwards, for first top 10 for Edwards of the season. Denny Hamlin finished 11th, Ryan finished 12th, David Riggin finished 13th, Kurt Busch 14th, Stennis Jr. 15th, Patrick 16th, Biffle 17th, Bain 18th, Almirola 19th, 20th was Austin Dillon, 21st, AJ Allmendinger, Cliff Bowyer got 22nd, Kenseth finished 23rd, Tony Stewart finished 24th, 25th was Kyle Larson, 26th was Sam Hornish Jr., 27th was Casey Mears, 28th was David Gilliland, 29th was Brett Moffitt, 30th was Chris Buescher, 31st Michael McDowell, 32nd Lane Castle, 33rd Alex Bowman, Matt DiBenedetto finished 34th, Cole Witt finished 35th, Mike Bliss 36th, Alex Kennedy 37th, 38th was Josh Wise, 39th was Justin Allgaier, 40th was Michael Annett, 41st was Paul Menard, I'm sorry about that, 42nd Ryan Blaney, 43rd J.J. Elliott here. And when I look at this finish order here, I feel like that to me, I think the surprise finisher to me was kind of a driver like Jeff Gordon, who really did not have the car all day long here, but thanks to strategy, he was able to finish good. And I felt like that. And I already mentioned about how about the tragedy that Paul Menard faced here. I think that was definitely number 1 in terms of like shockers and just simply sadness here. But when I look at like other drivers here, I kind of felt like Matt Kenseth to me was like a little bit of a shocker. I expected Matt Kenseth to actually finish top 10, maybe even top 5 right here. I was expecting that. I kind of felt like that to me. Is there anyone else that I think was kind of surprising here? To me, when I look at this right here, I was kind of expecting more from Kurt Busch. I mean, he finished inside of the top of the team, which isn't bad. But I feel like to me, I think what happens often with Kurt Busch is that to me, he'll start really good early, but the thing is he falls off. So I think what that team needs to work on is just simply figure out how to exactly keep a good car every single lap. Right here. And I guess other than Jeff Gordon in terms of surprising finishes are here. I would definitely say that like Jimmie McMurray was another driver. I didn't expect Jimmie McMurray to finish where he finished right here as well. And I guess also I'll give a little shout out to David Reagan. I actually was not expecting him to finish inside the top 15 here. But yeah, so that's pretty much here Texas in general. And now I'm just gonna talk a little bit about Bristol here. Bristol Motor Speedway, the world's fastest half mile, the last great Coliseum right here. 0.533 miles here. Highly banked concrete right here. And I gotta say, I think out of my 3 short tracks, out of the 3 short tracks, Bristol is my favorite racetrack here. I mean, I love the way it's designed. I know a lot of fans will be like, bring back the old Bristol. But the thing is, I kind of like this like new Bristol right here because the thing is, I kind of felt like that when I started watching NASCAR in 2007 and when I watched my first Bristol race in 2008. I kind of didn't exactly like of how the only lane I didn't really like how the only effective lane was the bottom lane here, you know, and I wasn't and I was kind of waiting for the day that you'd be able to use multiple lanes in Bristol, not just the bottom lane here, because I feel like that if we can use multiple lanes, I think it'll make the racing even more exciting here. And like I said, I feel like Bristol has done a very good job with the racetrack and its recent configurations to allow multi-groove racing right here. So I'm very excited for that Bristol race here. And if I'm gonna pick a driver right here, I'm gonna look at the average finishes here. Okay. I feel like okay. So when I look at this, list right here. Wow! Wow! Okay, so I go on to driveraverages.com right here, and I look at this, this list here, and it says that since 1961, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Larson are number 1, 2 right here. But the thing is, because they've made only a few starts, that doesn't exactly count. So because of that, in my book, the driver with the best average finish is Greg Biffle right here, which I wasn't exactly expecting here. Kyle Busch is in 2nd right here. Matt Kenseth 3rd, Gordon 4th, Junior 5th, Keselowski 6th, Kevin Harvick 7th right here, Kurt Busch 8th, Carl Edwards 9th, Jimmie Johnson 10th right here. And this is just active drivers right here. But just the way, but if we say that Biffle is the driver with the best average finisher here, it's only an 11.92 as opposed to other tracks where the best average finishing driver is in like the 8s and 9s here. To see an 11.92 is kind of shocking here. It really shows how Bristol is just simply not an easy track to maintain good positions every single racer here. But I feel like that I feel like the winner is definitely going to be I kind of have a feeling that like someone on the Gibbs team is going to get down here. So I'm not gonna. So while I don't have a specific driver, I think someone on the Gibbs team is going to really well at Bristol. And for some reason, my dark horse pick is David Reagan here. I guess maybe because he did so well at Martinsville, I'm kind of excited to see what he does on short track right here. But I feel like Joe Gibbs, I think, has a lot of potential to really do well and possibly have one of its 4 drivers win the race. But anyway, here, that's all I really got to say here in this race review. So I hope you enjoyed watching this race. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and bye.